Hello, JD Grosspitz here, lead singer and streaming talent of Malignant Bear, and today we're coming at you with a quick look of the game, The Riftbreaker. This game came out in October of 2021, and it's from a smaller studio based out of Poland, and it's a fascinating combination of a twin-stick action game with a horde mode RTS similar to They Are Billions. For the purposes of this quick look, I'm going to be playing the Gamepass version of the game on PC, so with mouse and keyboard, but all versions of the game should be the same. So without any further ado talking about it, let's actually see what it is, just because it's such an interesting combination of things. So we're here on the main screen, and what we're going to be showing today is a little bit of the survival mode. So the game has a tutorial, which is the prologue. There's a full campaign where you go about collecting resources and minerals all over this planet, and then there's also a survival mode, which gives you a set time limit to basically just not die. And I think survival mode is the best to kind of showcase it, because it still has some tutorials, so it'll give you a little bit more of an idea what things are, but you're not constrained to any of the story elements. So looking just at this, you have quite a few options here for difficulty, and this holds true for the campaign as well. So you have a whole bunch of difficulty settings here. You can customize it as much as you want. There's even a streaming mode setting, so if you're playing this on any streaming platform of your choice, you can have it set up to where your viewers can vote on events that happen in-game, which is pretty cool. So we're going to do just the basic tropical zone and normal difficulty, and go ahead and start out. So I've been playing this a little bit off-stream, and I figured this was the perfect kind of game for a quick look, because it's fun and addicting, but you can get a good feel for it just with seeing, 10 or 15 minutes of the gameplay. So I will say this game runs very well, and it's one of the few games that supports both RTX features and NVIDIA's FSR features as well.
It will allow me to reconstruct if my armor is destroyed.
So you can see Mr. Riggs is our robot, that's us, and we are Ashley, the pilot of the robot, and they'll talk to us throughout the game to kind of give us a little bit more guidance in some of the tutorial features. So starting out, you have a bit of a safety window here, where you just have to set up your base and wander around. So looking at it, you can see I'm moving the mouse to move my character around to do the actual twin stick parts, and then just moving with that. You have some abilities down there in the bottom left, different weapons as well. So you can switch between different types of guns, and you can get more of these as the game goes on.
I'm sure that our presence will not go unnoticed.
There's the building menu, so we'll look at this very quickly. So you have to gather resources. You can see there's a whole bunch there in the top right, and use those to build buildings. So again, it's a light RTS, similar to something like They Are Billions, where you want to build up your base before you get attacked by a whole bunch of creatures. So there's not a whole lot of options here so far. You can unlock more as you go throughout, and we'll get into that a little bit. But one of the first things we want to do is find a good spot to build our base. So you need a couple basic resources to get started. The main one is carbonium, which is over here. It's this one, this blue one. And so your mech can harvest things. So you see it just kind of drilling into the ground there, and you can see it's telling me what I need to do to build my headquarters.
We've gathered enough resources
and
to construct a headquarters building.
This might be a good place to start.
Let's place it close to a carbonium deposit. This will help us speed up resource production.
So you can see they're giving us some tips on where we should start. I'm going to explore around a little bit though, because that's a good start, but we can maybe do better. You can see as we destroy stuff, we're picking up some resources that way. Destroy some trees, get a few more. All of the maps are completely randomized, so no run is ever going to be the same as another. So it keeps it interesting that way. So when enemies attack us, we can build walls to fend them off, but we want natural defenses in terms of rocks as well. And there's some of the enemies, actually. So you can see what we're up against. It's all sorts of creatures, and they have different types. And they'll spawn at set intervals, or when you do certain things, so you have to keep an eye out for that. They're relatively easy, but they come at you in just massive numbers. Alright, so yeah, I think this is our best place to go. So we can wall this off somewhat, And we'll build that right there. And while that's going, we'll build some more carbonium. So you can see you get a nice little grid when you want to actually start setting up your base. Buildings kind of phase in or get 3D printed. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there, but it's all futuristic and cool. The story mode for the game is pretty simple, but it's not bad.
Let's build a carbonium factory to do the digging for us.
Okay.
Yes, we've got much more interesting things to do. Let's
All right.
automate this.
So you want to build... We're going to build a couple factories here, actually. We'll get some more carbonium going while that's being built. But you can see we have energy to keep track of, carbonium, and ironium, which is one of the other minerals that's close by. So you can see we need power now. So we have to start building things for that. We're going to build a couple things just right here.
Wind turbines are less effective, but they work around the clock. Carbonium power plants are very effective, but they use up the deposits that they are placed on.
So again, they're telling us little tips and tricks as we go through, which is nice. And you can turn that on or off. I'm keeping it on for the purposes of this, just so you can hear some of the voice acting and see how the tutorials are presented.
Remember to connect all buildings to the power grid using energy connectors. They connect all buildings within their area of operation, even if power lines are not visible.
Okay. So we need to build some power stations, so I'm opting for wind turbines here because they activate all the time. There's other choices as well, so for example, if you want to turn your carbonium into energy, you can do that, or harvest biomass, or use solar panels, but of course they turn off at night, and there is a full day-night cycle in this game, and weather as well. You also have to build your power lines to power up your buildings, so again, there's some light little RTS elements in this too. So we have an attack coming up pretty soon. We haven't built a whole lot of defenses, so let's see if we can get that going. So again, we started here, which is good because we have these rocks. And we're going to build some basic walls to help us in that side too. So again, we don't have to worry about any attacks coming from those rocks. But the undefended parts we absolutely do. And of course, if you decide later on that you don't like any of those choices that you've made, you can sell things, upgrade them, repair them. So, and there's a whole bunch of quick options for those as well, so easy enough to figure out what's going on in the game, and plenty of keyboard shortcuts to keep you with the fast-paced gameplay that this has. So we're just going to hang out, harvest some more things, wait for this first attack. Think about what else we maybe want to build here. Get some turrets going, that would be a good idea. You can see they have a nice little area of effect there.
I'm detecting a large group of creatures heading towards our position. It looks like our presence is being noticed.
Alright, so we're going to get attacked, and you will see them here on the minimap in the bottom right in a little bit.
If necessary.
See where they show up at. So here we have the main survival objective. We've gone in long enough that the training wheels are off, and the game is going to start throwing enemies at us. So like I said, it'll do it on a timer, or when we do certain things. So for example, if we upgrade our headquarters, that'll trigger an attack. We need specific resources to do that. So, let's see. I'm gonna build some turrets. I know they're not optimal, but just kind of want to get started with that more than anything else. So again, we have to build power lines to go to them. Alright, you can see the enemies are attacking, and of course they're attacking at night. Did a little bit of damage to our fencing. So again, the game is fast-paced. Combat is very quick like that. You take damage very easily, of course you can upgrade that, but so do the enemies. So, alright, so here we have our Ironium, and we want to build up to this as well. This is outside of our walls, but we can fix that. And let's see. What we'll do is... Oh, I thought I positioned that right. There we go. Okay. Alright, so we're going to sell our walls so we can get that into our walls instead. So this is why I was looking around for maybe a little bit better start, because this is sort of outside of our potential zone of protection. You want to try to keep your base small and manageable, especially as the game gets further on, because it gets harder and harder. So this is building up, though. Let's see, we have just enough energy that that's fine. But we'll be smart and we'll future-proof a little bit.
Ashley, I strongly advise you to construct an armory. It will allow us to craft new weapons and upgrades, and also manufacture field repair kits, as well as other usable items.
So I need more ironium to
And
make
it will produce more ammunition for your guns.
make the armory
Yes,
and get
that is
ammo.
An important building.
So again, they're explaining to me the things that I need to do, just the basics of this. Start harvesting up. And this is one of those games that you can make it easier and a little bit more comfy if you play on lower difficulty settings, or you can really ramp it up and make it as frantic as you want. So we're playing on normal right now, so it's still fairly laid back. Make sure everything is connected here. Build our armory up. And then get a few more walls going as well. Of course, we're going to need to build some gates in the walls too, so we're not locked out of our own base. And you can add multiple walls, of course. You can have layers of them, which is the smart thing to do. But we're a little low on resources now, so we'll keep this as is. And we're going to be really bold, and we won't build walls around this. We'll come out, defend it ourselves. Well, somewhat.
I'm detecting a decrease in wind speed. This may affect our wind turbines.
Uh-oh. So again, you get some randomized events like that. So sometimes the wind will die down, or you'll get a cloudy day, so your solar panels won't work. Or you'll get a big storm, which means that your wind turbines are generating extra energy.
Wind turbines are less effective.
So you can see that's changing up there in the top right.
We can now use it to craft new items.
Losing
It will
energy.
also automatically manufacture ammunition for my weapons.
Let's see. Oh, I'm losing a lot of energy there. That's no good. I can do solar plants. Let's build some of those just to help us out. Hopefully this won't last too long. Oh. I apparently built that terribly. Let's put that right there instead. While that's building, we'll go and explore around a little bit. So we have some time until the next attack, so we can see a little bit more of the map. The game looks good and runs very well. And there's plenty of variety in terms of the environments and the creatures and things that you're going to find and be fighting against. Lots of these little red ones today, though. Here's some harder ones. And you can find little random events on the map as well, so sometimes you'll find like a nest of them that you'll have to clear out. Get a gun in on the action there. This is a cool combination of games, though, and it sort of reminds me of what if Supreme Commander had gone a little bit less in on the RTS elements and more in on the controlling the commander part. Of course, that game was just a more modern interpretation of Total Annihilation.
Returning
So.
back to statistically normal values. Wind turbines are back at nominal power levels.
That's good. Just exploring around a little more. See some enemies explode when they die.
Ironium storage is full. Build more storage facilities.
So you can build storage facilities to hold more of your resources, which is usually a pretty good idea. Getting very low on health, so we need to go back. Again, we can heal up a little bit and drop some little mines, but you always want to try to return to base frequently to refill on ammo and heal and things of that nature. There's faster ways around it. You have different abilities. Stand here and get healed. Oops. While we're doing that, we can check out some of these other menus. So in the campaign, you'll spawn into different places on the world, and you can teleport between them. So not only can you teleport on the map itself to different parts of this smaller map that you're on, so you can build little rifts and teleport between them, but in the campaign you'll teleport to entirely new maps as well, and some of your things carry over and are linked. You have a full event log, so if you want to see what the characters are saying, you have a nice little database of everything in the game. You have an inventory system with different types of weapons and armor that you can use and equip and research and find out in the field, including some upgrades. So you can see here, and you can change how you look a little bit as well.
Research completed.
There's some research that you can do, so you can find even more things that way. And then, of course, just the standard options menu. So we'll go for one more attack here and see how this goes. But again, this is just scratching the absolute surface of this game. And so you can see here some of these other options that we have just from the get-go, and you can find a whole lot more once you start, getting the orbital scanner and doing research, but that takes quite a lot of resources to do. So you'd have to build up a lot to get to that. You can have more energy options, mine different types of resources from this. Storage, of course.
Storage is full.
A lot more options for defenses. So like this one, for example, we can build a little platform that we can stand on so we can shoot over our own walls, which is nice. There's our little teleport gates. You have to build AI cores so you can have more turrets up and about. And you have a few little cosmetic things. You can build lamps so that your little base is a little bit nicer looking. Or you can, put some floors if you want to terraform a little more hardcore. And then, of course, all those buy and sell options. But obviously, in a real game, you would want to be building up and doing a lot more things than I am in this one. I'm getting very lax. You can see my resources are capped. I don't have full walls or anything like that. But I just want to showcase the very basics of this, because I think this game is fun and interesting. And so I figured this was the perfect candidate for a quick look kind of thing.
I'm detecting a large group of creatures heading towards our position.
And this would be a great game if you were a streamer and you had a big community. They could, again, vote on things and kind of tailor the experience to you. I think that's a really neat thing that lots of games do, and I'm glad to see that it was included in this as well. They are working on multiplayer for this as well, a co-op thing where you'll have multiple, Riftbreakers in one game. As you can see, the enemies are going straight for my undefended base. Not good. We'll die on purpose. So when you die, you can drop some of your equipment. But if you were smart and you actually built a headquarters, you'll just respawn there, which is good. You can turn on hardcore mode where, dying is dying. But we're still pretty early on, and this was a very heavy attack. Going to repulse it without any issues. Well, without any major issues. Had I not forced that death
That's
there,
a good idea.
we would have been
The
fine.
enemy attacks are getting constantly stronger. We need better guns.
So again, they're hinting at the fact that the game is going to keep getting harder on you. See, we lost quite a few of our buildings there. But that's the basics of this, the Riftbreaker. This game's really cool. It's out on Steam and Gamepass, and probably some other stores. I assume GOG and things of that nature. But I think it's worth checking out if you're interested in a lighter horde-based RTS, again similar to They Are Billions, or you like twin-stick action games, because there's a little bit of both of those things, along with some nice RTS or RPG elements to kind of keep you invested that way. My only critique of the game is what you just saw there. There's an autosave feature, and you can change the timing on that, but when it autosaves, at least on the Game Pass version, it slows the game down to an absolute crawl, to the point where I think it's going to crash every time. It never has. I've never had any actual issues with it, but that is worth pointing out. But yeah, this is the Riftbreaker. Again, worth checking out. It's a fun game.
These
You can find it on most platforms.
Drawn to our energy emissions. So
As
it will
always,
be
we
like
hope
an
you
alarm
enjoy
bell
this
for them.
video.
We should strengthen our
appreciate your
defenses
viewership.
before upgrading the HQ.
And until next time, have a good one.